Okay, welcome. This is Alex's last year, the final project for backend specialization. Uh, so we are a group team that we're planning to show off about our Alex portfolio project. Uh, so I am Jakob Lankebret. By profession, I am a medical doctor. By enthusiasm, I am a computer science enthusiastic, where I joined the LX and now doing the specialization. Um, so I'm working currently on AMR systems in daytimes. So it's related to computer science as well as the medical field. So my colleague will tell you about himself.
Hi, my name is Avi Asfaw. I am a software engineer from Addis Ababa, and today we'll be presenting our pitch for our final project for the WebStack portfolio project, and we will show certain details of our project pitch.
Oh, nice, nice. So, well, we had different ideas before coming to our final idea pitch, where we actually, I was thinking of developing a hospital management system where I'm actually working currently with AMR, electronic medical records and medical records, but in fact, the system is adapted from Bahamni, which is an Indian open source. But when I thought about it, developing such medical records would be beneficial and useful for local hospitals within our country and even for Africa. But concerning with the features that it may have, in the 27 days we have more or less a month, less than a month that we have to develop such a huge project. We are fighting back and forth with my colleague, and the project is a bit extended. But we plan to do this one, post graduation and develop very well established EMR, electronic medical records, and as well as e-health systems within the hospitals. So now we drop that for that case, and you had another idea which you wanted to develop. What was it actually?
The second project idea we discussed was a live server monitoring tool, which was basically a tool that will tell us our servers once we deployed our software to a production environment, so that we can know the health status and have some sort of error reporting and so on. But uh, due to the time and some technical limitations of our team, we decided not to do that. Certain examples are we couldn't figure out how to make our project run as a npm package that we can run alongside running application server, so that can monitor. And the second was we were not sure if we could make a monitoring tool that would work for any live server running, which was running on different languages and frameworks. And we believed it was a bit too complex for a 2 to 3 weeks project. And we decided to not go ahead. And that's why we decided on the third project idea, which is a file management system.
Nice. So this file management system, which is a customer file management system, we actually assumed it to be a system where we can actually work it within the next 2 weeks after the pitch. So it is a system in which it offers a registry of customer information and uploads all customer related files, which are originally maintained with hard copies. So once the customer information is registered and all the files are uploaded to any service provided by the office, which requires checking of the customer's previous record, will be carried out using the system, in which any office employees who wishes to access a customer's file will send will send a request that will be viewed by a designated personnel, and then upon reviewing such requests, the persons on the other side will have an option to accept or decline that offer. So it is basically transitioning from the paper to electronic way of handling customers' files within a system development. The features include about registration and file uploading, and as well as controlling the access, and as well as a step ahead to have a time constraint of such file access, where you can't file access or upon request that is being done before or after a certain time. Uh, uh, Abel, would you mind telling us about the technologies that we're planning to implement?
For our project, we decided on a frontend framework of React.js, and we none of us are experts on frontend. Where we both are currently loading the backend specialization. So we tried to find an easier framework to learn, and we decided Redux on top of React. Redux might be the best option. For the backend, we are going to use Node.js with Express framework, and after database, we're going to use MongoDB.
Okay. Um, with the infrastructure that we're going to implement, and there is we're going to use the GitHub. We had already developed a private GitHub where we actually have one main branch where we'll make it as a public once we're done with it. So because we are just a two-member group, we'll be working on the main branch for the development process. And the strategy for the development upon the infrastructure is initial deployment of the MVP, and changing the deployed version upon addition of the new features at the end of the schedule within the next 2 weeks. Well, upon for developing the MVPs, we actually had a project outflow where we are using the Trello system. We'll be sharing it within this video. What were we discussing about the MVP cutoffs, Abel?
Before discussing the MVP cutoff, let me give you a little bit detailed description of the system. The basic problem we observed was government offices use hard copies of customers, but there are already many file management systems which can be used as an alternative. But on top of that, we wanted to build a system in which the file access to customers' files was limited to a specific time, in which the service providers or the employees wanted to do a specific task or wanted to give a service to a customer. So that's why it's not just a file management, it's also some sort of file sharing with timed access. And to define the MVP features, we had some discussions, and these are the features we decided should be included in the MVP. The first one is customer registration, which is a crucial part. Once they register the customer information, they will upload current digital copies of the current files, which are maintained as a hard copy. Once they upload the file, the next process is any employee which wishes to access a customer's file will search for the customer through some sort of registration number and send a file request to file room or some user account which is designated to handle such file request. If the file request is approved, the employee will have a specific time, let's say 3 hours, within which he or she can uh, read all files of the customer, and also upload new files that he or she worked on. And the last one is uh, yes, the second option for the file room was to deny a file request, which will be decided by the designated user. So this was our MVP cutoff criteria.
Very nice. With this system that there are many other out there. One might argue, but is as my friend told you that it is specifically tailored for what we have seen within the government office, and there are a lot of dilemmas within the government office that we actually went, where they had a very long use of papers, and customers are very tired of it, and we actually tailored or hit such customers on our mind that it makes this specific project unique and applicable. You're telling us about the what we MVPs had, but what possible improvements that we were thinking of adding at the end, Abel?
Okay. As our initial version, based on the time we would have to complete the project. Uh, Besides the MVP, one of the features we may add are the first one is the report generation module, which generally generates, let's say, PDF file of the system usage. So a report of, let's say, number of files uploaded, number of file requests sent from a single office, uh, file request accepted and file request denied. This was one possible improvement. The second was in our first implementation, we were just doing, let's say, if I sent a file request to a file room, the file room and in the file room interface, the user has to refresh to see all new updates. And a possible improvement will be to send a notification every time a file request is sent, and upon the clicking of the notification, the file room user will have refreshed and new fix. In the Yes, the third improvement, which we thought would be a good idea, was some sort of workflow log in which an employee would be able to tell us what kind of work he or she is doing, which will make the reporting for the office as detailed as possible, and we can specifically say, let's say a specific user in this office account completed these types of jobs in this duration for a certain period of time. So these are the three possible improvements we had in mind.
Yeah. On top of that, not only that, we are thinking of deploying it on, while to access it, but also we are thinking of actually, Abel, if I'm not mistaken, to apply it to an institution, to a specific institution of this program. Yeah. So we are actually thinking not only it is just a project, but to use it within Addis Ababa here in Ethiopia, and maybe show the outcomes and hear uh, from possible customers at the end. So we thank Alex for giving us this chance. It was a wonderful year, and we hope to succeed in finalizing this project. Abel, any last words you want to say?
Thank you to all the LX team members, and we wish we'll have a good project pitch, development, and presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.